Hey folks, so today I'm going to be demonstrating how to fold an origami crane. Now, I've been into origami since I was a little kid because I think it's a fascinating combination of art and math. So this is a project you can follow along with pretty easily, even if you don't have any experience with origami, and I'll show you how to go through it step by step. So a couple of things to keep in mind is I always tell people the more precise you make your folds, the better it's going to look in the end. And also, if you're making your own square paper, you can always make some just by folding it in a diagonal and cutting it. And the more perfect your square, the better it's going to work out for you. So let's go ahead and get started here. First, all I could find was a double-sided paper. I have color on both sides. Your paper probably is going to be white on one side if you have origami paper. So let's pretend like this is starting white side up, and I'm just going to fold it in half here. So I'm just trying to make my folds precise and make a nice sharp crease. Unfold that, put your paper the other way and make a nice crease in half the other direction. Still with the white side up. Make a nice sharp crease. So unfold that. You should now have fold going each direction. Now we're going to turn your paper over so the color side is up, and we're going to fold on the diagonal again in half. Get those corners all nicely lined up, because it will make a difference later on down the line in your project. Unfold that and make a crease on the other diagonal. And go ahead and open everything back up. What you've got now should look something like this. And what we're going to do is just collapse this down. So I like to put my pointer fingers right here, smush them toward the middle, and we're just going to wind up with a flatter square. Now go ahead and put your smaller square down on the table. And towards you there should be a couple flaps. You'll notice the top is not open, but the bottom is. So keep that bottom flap toward you. And we're going to make it look kind of like a kite. The most common mistake I see in this step is people want to fold this point to the center. But what we're in fact doing is we want this edge to line up with the center. So we're going to fold this whole edge like so. And the same thing on the other side, make it nice and symmetrical. And you should be able to see that perfect center line because of the crease we made there earlier. So we've got those. You can go ahead and unfold those flaps. And then we're going to take this top little triangle and fold it down so that the edges of that triangle match where you made those creases before. And now you can see kind of where we got the kite from, so if we fold it up like that. So unfold all those, flip your paper over. Again, make sure you've got that flap toward you and the top should be closed. Now we're going to do the same thing. Take that edge to the center. Make our kite. And both sides nice and symmetrical. Unfold those, and same thing with the little triangle tab on top there. And unfold everything. Now this part can be a little bit tricky, but we're just going to take this very top flap. See, there are other layers right here, but I only want to grab this very top flap, And we're going to fold it using this little triangle crease as a pivot. We're folding it all the way up, and it's going to look like a canoe shape for a second, and then we're going to go ahead and just flatten it down. You might have to get your finger inside there to help it flatten down a little bit. So when you're done, it should look like a diamond shape like that. Now I'll go ahead and flip it over. On the other side, again, make sure you just have only the top flap. There are other layers there. Make sure you only have the top piece of paper. And use that triangle crease as a pivot to fold it up like so. And then smoosh down your canoe shape. So now we have kind of a diamond or diamond shape on both sides here. And you'll notice that the bottom is still open, so it's kind of like has legs, and the top is open the other way. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put my fingers right there, flip it inside out, so to speak. And we're going to do a similar fold like we did before by putting that edge to the center and just narrowing down these sides that I said look like legs. So we'll do both sides right to the center. Again, nice and symmetrical. And just leave those, it should look like that. Flip it over to the other side. And do the same thing.
Father, yes, son, I want to kill you. Mother.
We had something looking like that on both sides. And we're just going to do the same thing in reverse. So flip it back inside out. I'm going to stick my finger inside one of these sides and just turn it inside out while folding it all the way up here. And then smush it down. Same thing on this side. So I'm just folding it up and also turning that part inside out. And then smash it down. So for the final step here, I'm just gonna stick my finger inside this flap, and to make the head, we'll just fold it down and inside out, kind of like a smaller version of the crease we did in the step before. And then we can just grab the wings and stretch out the wings. And it should kind of inflate itself pretty good. If not, sometimes you can give it a little puff of air in the bottom through the hole right here. But usually it'll kind of stretch out and inflate itself pretty well. And there you have it. You can kind of pose it, or some people like to fold the wings. I just like to bend them like that. And you can pose it how you like. So these work out really nicely. I think they're fairly easy to make. With a little bit of practice, you can make these in a couple minutes or so. And they work out really nicely as a little tiny gift, or even something that you can tie on top of a gift, or even as Christmas ornaments.
Yeah.